Hey, everybody. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
I hope it's warm and pleasurable where you're at because it is not here.
It is not here.
It's funny, B and I both have heated stuff on.
I think mine's dead.
All that work.
All that work.
Yep.
And it is.
Yeah, and it's dead. But it is snowy and cold here. I know it's not as bad here as it is in some places. I'll show you guys some pictures of what we got. And still good. It's still snowing outside. But it's amazing how the weather can change. Just 70 not very long ago.
Yeah.
You know.
And it is cold up here.
It is cold up here. This office is on the third floor. It's the only third floor room that I have in the whole building. It's a small room. It's like a crow's nest to sit down at the top of the house. But it's the last one to get heat. You would think that because it was up top that it would get heat quicker. But because of how I designed my house, I built the ceilings in a way that would move the heat the way I wanted them. And this was the last priority. So it don't get it as good as a lot of places do. But anyway, let's get some hellos in. How about Helen? Happy Harvest. How are you? Welcome in. My buddy Squatchy, what's going on? Hey, Aljo and Barbara are in the house, and Aljo asked if we could please thank the prayer warriors for praying for his wife, Barbara. She had successful brain cancer surgery. She's now having radiation and chemotherapy and looking forward to the live tonight. Yeah. So
yes. My thoughts and prayers are with you guys.
Yep. If you remember, we talked about it in a previous live, and there was lots of them out there. The king himself, Jeff, Juicy, Hefty, Lefty, Amazon, Mud Dauber, Slick, Phyllis is in the house tonight, as is the beautiful Louise Wesley. Right, greatest name on the internet. Is followed by Lisa. Welcome in. Terminator's in the house. Says, good evening, Freedom Family from freezing Ontario. Yeah, it is cold. Jane Marie, welcome in. Rhonda, welcome in to you as well. Dana Green says, good evening from icy Texas.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, how much ice you got?
Yeah, Carrie Davis says, grateful our electricity is still working. Hope you all are safe and warm. I'm actually was kind of wondering what was going on down there. I have a lot of friends in Arkansas, a lot. And I know you guys were going to kind of be in the heat of it, in the meat of it.
And they were expecting the electricity to not work?
Yeah, well, babe, you get those big ice storms like that where there's an inch of ice hanging off. It takes a lot out.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Will Be Cool's in the house. What's up? Nitos, how are you, my friend? Yep, we are form. Hey, there you go. Crunchy Mama Farms is in the house. Says the storm is perfect for testing the new wood burning stove. Yep.
I love it.
We have 2 running full blast right now.
And so this is the very first time that ever in our wood burning stove history that he has brought up an entire crate of hedge. Because usually I'll keep the hedge and I'll put it in a area and I'll use it when I want to use it. And so
why would you want to use it?
To heat the fire, to heat the box.
A lot more BTU in a hedge log than there is in anything else.
And
here.
And I have some little logs that if I want to get the oven temperature up fast, I will use the hedge logs. And so I save those for specific things. And this is the first time ever that he's brought up an entire crate of hedge. And so we have been burning hedge like exclusively for a day. I've had to go into the wood pile and specifically pull out non-hedge to try to throw here and there into the wood box. But I have noticed a significant difference with the exclusive hedge burning and everything else, because the fire box, the stove is hotter longer, and it's I'm not up every 2 hours.
You're just up every 3.
I got like 4.5, and I get up and there's significant holes in there. It's the firebox is basically the whole bottom is full of nice red embers. It's not, or coals. It's not usually when I get up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom, there's a bunch of ash and just black charcoal pieces, but not much more to work with. Often would have to start a fire.
Yeah. It heats the kitchen, our bedroom real well. Pod 4 gets heated really, really well. It's the center section, and then where we're at, that clear at the top. That
Well, and you would think 3 levels up that heat would just trickle up the stairs
Well, you
to
would
the
think, but
highest point.
I put the arches in our house to deflect that heat, to send it into a particular
areas.
way so that it was efficient. But anyway, my buddy Mo's in the house. Good to see you. Ahoy, says Indiana Mike. Gratitude to Grace is in the house. Good to see you guys. Says happy Saturday Snowmageddon 2026.
Snowmageddon.
Yep, waiting to see what the ice storm brings, says Pack Rat. And there's no life complete without a
Hacker.
That's right. Grateful Heart Trans, welcome in. Plumber Mickey, what's it going on? Glenn Forner, good to see you. We are trying to stay warm. Harry Kent, Hampworth, and Paula are in the house for the what would be a Friday podcast, now a Saturday one. Says East Tennessee is truly blessed. Our severe weather was quite mild compared to others with little damage. Excellent. Oh my goodness, check this out. Terminator said we had minus 53 degrees with wind chilled, frigid cold. Oh. Yep, Dana Green says about a 1/4 inch, but precipitation is going to start soon. Hey, look at that. Here's my buddy Ryan. What's up, Ryan? How are you? Says Ryan the Matador says, so long since I've caught alive. Too cold to do anything else, so I'm off the hook for a bit. Boy.
Yeah, that's kind of like what you were doing.
Yeah.
He's been in the house all day.
Oh, look at that.
Like,
Jonathan Garner, welcome in, bud. Hey, thank you for that. We'll put it in the community fund.
oh, nice.
Yep, pretty cool. All right. Oh, I'm not caught up. And of course, we have Life with Mike and Jen.
Good evening.
Yeah. Now, just so you guys know, they don't play Storms Fair. I'm not going to tell you the details because I don't know what they want everybody to
They
know,
don't play
but
Storms Fair.
they don't play Storms Fair.
They have plans well in advance.
Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. You want to talk a little bit about some of the stuff you brought over there before we get into?
Oh, so yes, last week I wanted to bring this up. I wanted to show you guys. Look. Isn't that cool?
Yep.
My name is on there. How cool is that? Brand new.
Tell them where you got it from.
So my lady I get my milk from, the neighbor, I had asked her what so my Bible I usually keep in the Jeep, and I don't know how or why, but when I got it out, it was like,
That's a weird place to keep it.
Bill, because every time I'd go to church, it was in the car already. And so it was a weekly thing. Anyway, so I got it out and it was like it had been wet or something. Like it was swollen and some of the pages were stuck together, and something that I had left in the Bible was like stuck in, it was married to the pages. So anyway, I had looked on the internet and I didn't know what all the initials were afterwards. And so I had asked her what she had. And so I showed up to get milk and she had a little baggie and she said, here, look, I got you this. And so this is what was in it. And it had my name on it, which was like something totally planned, right? She could have just gone to Walmart and picked it up.
Mm-hmm.
So it touched my heart. It was
Yep.
beautiful.
So B is getting in name engraved Bibles from
The neighbor.
the neighbor milk lady.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the last Bible I got was my mom gave me a Bible and she wrote my name in it. And that was the one that was in the car.
Mm.
And had a little message in it. And I didn't want to get a different one. I didn't want a new one, but it's kind of hard to turn the pages when you can't, when they're.
Maybe you could turn the pages if you didn't leave your Bible in your Jeep.
Well, I didn't anticipate it. I don't know why it would have been wet. I don't know why. I guess moisture.
It's a Jeep.
Yeah, but you wouldn't think that. I don't know. It would ruin like that. I mean, you put maps in there, and you got your the little booklet with your, oil change coupons and the paperwork that you keep in there. None of that's ruined. So.
I want to welcome ACM Homestead in, and since Jen already told them how they treat storms differently, they bugged out. One of them went to Vegas to play with the boys, and the other one went to California to play with the girls. And
I bet it's warm there.
yeah. So basically, they bugged out and said, "Nope, nope."
What's the temperature in Vegas right now? Probably warm.
Yep, I bet it's warm. I bet. Okay, what else you got?
Yeah.
You got another bag over there you want to
Oh yeah. So okay, we went. I had to go to the community building. We had some, or the warehouse. I had to go to the warehouse and get pick some stuff up and tidy some stuff. There was something going on, and so putting stuff away and reorganizing and that kind of thing. This baggie was sitting in it was sitting like this, so I couldn't see what it was, and it had been sitting there, and I just assumed it was somebody else's because it was just sitting there.
Yeah, it's my fault.
And it was on the top shelf. So I grabbed it down thinking it was empty, and it's like totally full. Look at that. And so I wanted to show
Okay, let me tell them what happened because I think it's
what was
important.
in
So
here.
we had some good friends of ours give it to us. They handed it to me. There was a ton of people. It was at one of our festivals that we had. It was a ton of people. And so I opened a cupboard door and stuffed it up in a cupboard to keep it out of the way. And then, of course, I forgot about it.
Yeah.
But we found it.
So now I get to like enjoy it. So, this is elderberry jam. Beautiful. Which I didn't know you can make jam out of that. But soaps. Oh my gosh. There's a little flower on the top of that bar of soap.
Got a loofah in it?
No, it's a
Well, that's
little
a flower. Yeah.
calendula flower.
Yeah.
Or chamomile.
Mm-hmm. It is
Chamomile. I should have read it first.
Yeah. So these are made. Let me show you the camera. You check that out. Abundant Provisions. This is made by a community member that lives not too far from us.
And then common mullein leaves, dried, like ready to go. All the hard work is done. So just dried. It says dried common mullein leaves. An entire jar would last for a long time, and dried wild nettle leaves, which I don't know what to do with.
Bet you can figure it out.
But yes.
And I bet you the 19 wood witches that are in the live tonight could probably tell you.
But I pulled these out. And
Druids. They're all druids.
I was like, oh my gosh, whose are these? And he was like, they're for you. And I'm like, oh, well, thank you. That is wonderful. That's amazing. I had shared last week or the week before that they had this company had a offer where they were doing a soap subscription, and so you can sign up for a soap subscription and have it mailed to you, or you can pick it up or whatever regularly. And I don't know what the details to that is because I have not investigated that, but that's a pretty cool thing. If you're not into making your own soap, but you want to make your own soap and you go to the farmer's market or you go to wherever, you don't have to do that. You can have fresh, wonderful, homemade. I just pulled this out to see how that little flower, that is just the cutest thing. I've not seen one like that. I've seen them to where they were like in the bars, but how cute is that little presentation? Anyway, I just thought I found that and I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, a couple things on that. I don't know if you guys know this or not. We actually put more content on Facebook than we do on YouTube. The way YouTube's gotten for us is, I mean, they just have tightened it all the way down. There's almost nothing I can do anymore. So, so I just put more out over there, more regular posts. But B does like to share that stuff of people in the community. And if you have a need for soap, and it can benefit the community, that's just a wonderful thing. I want to welcome real quick Barbara in because I didn't say hello. And of course, Salty Dog, how are you? And I'll make sure I got them all. Yep, I'm caught up. Okay, go ahead.
This is Abundant Provisions. It says, look how tiny that writing is.
Here.
But
I'll put it up to the camera.
Oh, yeah, it says
This way.
dried herbs, soap, salves, wheat berries, elderberry jam, soap subscriptions.
There you go.
Wheat berries. I know that I had gotten a jar of blue cracked corn gifted to me from Camille, and that was a wonderful blessing. When we were at her house, she made pita chips out of the blue cracked corn, so they were blue pita chips. They were wonderful.
I love that. Terminator says she loves your wood cooking shorts.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Anything else you got over there? And then we can go into
No, go ahead.
all the craziness that we got going on here.
Does yours not work?
It keeps turning off. I don't know.
Oh, the battery's dead. If it's turning off.
Yeah. Looks like we're both just SOL, huh?
Well, yours at least turns on for a little bit. Maybe you didn't. I don't know.
I don't know. All right.
This is the first time he's actually plugged a battery into it. He'll wear the hoodie, but he's never actually put the battery.
I'm not a big Sally. No.
I love my warmer.
She wears her Milwaukee battery powered vest everywhere.
Yeah, I was shocked though that this. I don't know how all of them are, but this particular one, it only has a little. It has a heated pad, one on each. Not really breast. It's like higher up collarbone, and then one like a pad about this big on the back, on the upper back. I would think that it would be all the way up and through the whole vest, and it is not. So I was a little surprised by that it was just like 3 little pads, but they didn't work.
Yep. So we had the reason why we're doing the live tonight on Saturday instead of doing it on Friday is because we had a meeting with an attorney from the Institute of Justice. And there's a lot of stuff that goes on, I imagine, in every county. But, in our county, it was kind of amazing to hear the stories. But we had quite a good turnout, had a great conversation. I'm not going to get much into the logistics of what are going on because I never know exactly who's watching the live, but
what's going on with the because there was some crazy stories that are just like,
what'd you take from all of it?
I was shocked by how many people came and had concerns of their own and so I was just hearing all their stories, and some of them were the same where it was like, whoa, this is a continuous issue. Or some of them were just like, what? Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah. It was interesting to hear the attorney say several times in there, that's preposterous was the word he kept using.
Preposterous.
Yeah. So I thought that was pretty fascinating too. It was neat to see people there that aren't, a normal part of our community, that come by all the time. And it was also interesting to see, we had a county commissioner there from a separate county, which I found interesting. And we also had our former state rep from this area. He's cool. He's retired now, but he left in this last cycle. But to have him there, I thought that was also pretty interesting. Lots of good questions, lots of good conversation, and there'll be much more to this story as time goes on. This isn't the end of the book. This is just the beginning.
Yeah. What a blessing to be a part of.
Yeah. It was interesting. I learned a lot about, property and property rights. And, that's what this particular attorney specializes in. And I think at the end of the day, guys, we have got to figure out a way to lock down our property rights, because you can't have freedom without them. Property rights are like the foundation of freedom. Without that solid foundation of freedom, how can we ever build to anything else? And so,
well, and if you don't know what your rights are, then shame on you. I mean, it's easy to take something away from somebody if they're freely giving it.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's a lot more to come to this story. And I will brief you guys what I can kind of along the way. I want to be a little bit careful for a little while, but because again, I don't know, totally who's on the other side. I'm very vocal in my county, and I put a post on Facebook every single day about some form of tyranny.
I know. I'm just waiting for them to. I mean, I kind of feel like they're retaliating already, so I just can't wait. I'm just.
Yeah, this morning I got onto they had put a post out about fire burns, and they said, we're not allowing people to burn today. And man, it was just hit me wrong. And I can't, what are you laughing at?
I just.
You just what?
You would think that you would just think that people would be smarter than to sit there and say you're not allowed to do something, because there's going to be at least one person out there who's going to go, "Oh, you're not allowed.
Right. Well,
Watch this."
yeah.
You
Well,
know, it's like a parent telling a kid or a wife telling a husband, "You're not allowed to go to that," or "You're not
Yeah.
allowed to do that." It's like, oh, watch.
yeah. So I blasted the fire department pretty hard today on it. And, I tried to explain to them that I'm not anti fire department. In fact, I think
Oh,
they're
right.
crucial
Or safety.
to a safe environment. But at the same time, it's one thing to say, hey, we recommend you not burn today. And then if someone goes
Right.
against those recommendations and burns down the neighbor's farm, then obviously they could be liable or whatever.
Should be.
But you're not telling me what to do. And so anyway, I had to kind of, get on them a little bit. But anyway, if you guys are interested, follow.
State your opinion.
Yeah, follow us on Facebook. Like I said, we put a post out every single day. Fear Not Farm, welcome in. It says, where are you from? We live in Northeast Kansas. And I love the name Fear Not Farm. I hope you've trademarked that, because that is exceptional. I like that a lot.
I was trying to see what it said on
All right,
the
let's get
picture.
trucking. So I want to share some pictures with you guys tonight from now if they'll tell me it's okay, they're in the live tonight from their farm, but just some of these pictures are just excellent. Good friends of ours. So anyway, have sent me some pictures over time, and so I'm going to say share 4 or 5 of them because I just think it's excellent. But look at that grass.
Yeah, I'm like, that's not right now.
It's actually not very long ago.
Wow.
This picture was not. Maybe they'll tell us how long ago they took the picture. Again, I don't want to share who it is if they don't want me to, but look at some of these pictures.
Oh,
Look at that. Babies with
They
a
have a
diaper on.
diaper.
Yeah, look, there's another picture. Check this out.
because they're in the house.
Yeah, Pete says it was from last week. So these are from Pete and Lazy Loper from California. Again, thank you. I just didn't want to say it if they didn't want me
Are
to say
those
it.
baby diapers? What do you got on here? How can I get my goat? How can I get my baby goats in the house?
No.
What is that?
No. No. Animals don't belong in a house.
Squatchies are in the house.
Yeah, well, Squatchies, I'm assuming.
Yeah, well.
I'm assuming had a mama die or a mama not take a baby, and it was either the house or nothing.
It looked like there was more than one.
They're all the same one.
That one's white. I think the other one is
Go
not.
back. Different lighting.
Looked to me like a white one and a yellow one.
Yeah. I don't. When I was a young boy, I grew up on a horse farm.
Yeah.
For those of you guys who don't know, and we had a mama who died giving birth, and my dad raised that colt inside of our kitchen for a little while, and we named it Crash because of the linoleum in the kitchen, because you'd hear it in the middle of the night,
Oh, nice.
And so
Running and then
yeah,
tripping or
and
falling,
falling into
or-
a cabinet or whatever it is. But so it was quite funny. But no, I don't want animals in the house. Let's see here. Fear Not Farm says, I've always been surprised how Kansas can be a little fickle when it comes to laws, and honestly kind of liberal with leading on some issues. Yeah, it blows me away. And, I try hard, Fear Not Farm, to be respectful, but stand my ground and be firm. And, it's gotten me in trouble, and, they penalize me
Yes.
penalize me for it. I promise you. But at the same time, they know that we can pack a room. They know that we'll put pressure on them. And so we're just going to keep the fight up. And you know what? Hopefully, let me back up and say it a different way. This can be totally depressing, what I'm about to tell everybody, but I'm going to say it anyway. I no longer believe there's a political solution to our problems, specifically at the federal level. And it's becoming harder at the state level. But I think at the county level, there's hope that at the very least I can just band-aid it or push it off to another date, that I can settle it down here. You hope, but I'm losing hope in that every fight we fight, and you got to deal with all the bureaucracy of it and all the, it's just absolutely insane. We'll talk a lot about those kind of things tonight, but anyway, it's very different from the Kansas I moved to when I moved here. It seems they want to just keep adding and keep adding and keep adding and keep adding and keep adding. Mary Michelle, welcome in.
And it sucks too, because it's not like you can just go and move to a different state because the regulations change all the time.
It's actually worse in most other places. I mean, so yeah, you're not running from it. The only solution to all of this is community. The only way that we're going to have any hope at all of being able to live life according to our own terms is by having a big enough people around us that we're not worth messing with.
As I say, to have a swing.
And I don't know what that I don't know what that number is, but yeah, I just don't know how to do it otherwise. And so we just have to keep swinging at it. And I would really love for more members of this community. I'm not talking about our homesteading community. I'm talking about the geographical community, to become more and more involved and more and more involved and more and more involved. And I think we can, make a bigger and bigger dent. Let's see here. Plumber Mickey says, don't tell me it's private property, but then tell me what I'm allowed to do on it if I don't have an effect on someone else. I couldn't agree more. And it's interesting. If you can opt out of it, it's freedom. If you can't, it's tyranny. It really comes down to that. I mean, if you look at the principles of it, right? If I can say no, it's freedom. But if I can't say no, property taxes, income taxes, right? Whatever it is, if I can't say no, then it's just coercion. It's tyranny. Fear Not Farm says, I'm afraid your realization with the federal government is probably more close to home. You're ready to admit, but I still kind of have hope for the same things as you. Yeah, and I'm trying to have hope. The good news is I've got a bunch of great people around me who keep reminding me, which helps me out a lot. Because again, the homesteading community here is big, and there's some really, really, really smart people that I respect a lot, even though I completely disagree with them often. But I still respect them a ton. So I'm trying to hold on to that hope. But man, everything we get into just seems to me like there's just no hope,
right?
Of actually changing it. Squatchy says, we had our new neighbors waited 2 months to buy next door. The city said no farm animals. We are A1, which is open air ag. Crazy, right? And it just feels like that grip is just getting tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter.
Yeah.
Until
you own nothing.
But you'll be happy.
Well, you'll be happy because otherwise you'll be taxed to the point where you have to give them your blood.
Yeah, it's just insane. And again, we're going to talk about some of these things tonight and kind of where some of those things are going. But so we had a big storm coming in. B went and stocked up, right?
Yeah.
Man, I don't know.
This was part of it.
Yeah, stocked up for the house and then also for the animals.
Yeah, so I didn't know. I was talking to one of the community members or one of our friends that had some animals and were talking about mineral deficiencies, and I have minerals out there for the cows. And I assume, well, you said that you saw one of the goats with her head in the
brownie had her head in it.
And they're so tiny. It's crazy that they can lift that and reach the bottom of that. But anyway, so I stopped at the not the feed store. I guess it's a feed store.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the co-op though. And talked to them about what I could put in there for just the goats. And so this is in the goat area that the cows can't get into. I had made a little area because several people say that my goats are pregnant, and I need to have a place for them to have babies. So I closed off one of the what do you call them? The stalls.
That's what I would call them.
Yeah. So I guess there's two.
Yeah, my wife has stalls for her cows
and goats. So there's two stalls that don't have a cattle panel between the two, and so the goats can actually fit between the two. They go between the fence, and so I tried to stack hay up to create a wind barrier, and then put this block in that area for them. They don't even go near it, so it might have been a waste of money.
Yeah, Fear Not Farm says I would recommend, here, I'll put it up here. I would recommend, if you can afford, to do a full buffet mineral for goats.
So where the lady that I got the goats from, she had these like PVC pipes vertical, and then I don't know what was on the bottom, but each one had a different
mineral
thing in it. Yeah. But I'm afraid if I do something like that, well, I'd have to put it where nothing else can get to it. I don't know, because
good luck with that.
I mean, the birds are in the birds are everywhere. I got the chickens in the turkey coop, and I don't have very many turkeys in the chicken coop. So
Scotchy
that's
says
good.
they're trying to rezone all of us here to limit how many animals we can have. Yeah, we're experiencing that here a little bit, not for the animal reason, but they are now have decided here that they're going to break the appraisals office into two, appraisals and zoning, hire some more employees. You know what's so crazy?
Oh, great.
Oh yeah, but let me take the whole story's worse. So back in 2020, our county decided to purchase a program called Eagle View, which basically takes pictures from the sky so that they can assess properties in order to protect their employees from COVID. Nobody got fired. Nobody lost their job. They just added this, I don't know how much it costs, $50,000 a year program. And so now we're going to split it into two departments, add some more employees. So we're going to have the original employees plus Eagle View plus some more employees and two departments. And you know what's crazy? Our population hasn't changed.
Lovely.
It's bigger and bigger government to manage the same thing.
Because if they took if they raised our taxes 123% or 126%, whatever it is, and we're not the only ones. So if they're doing that to say half of the population of our town, then they need another worker to come in and figure out what to do with all these new funds.
Yeah. Mo says the faster it falls, the more society will be intact for the rebuild. I wish I didn't agree with you. Nito says this is a farm and garden store. Yeah, we have a local one that's called Tar Waters. Let's see here. Where am I at here? There we go. Fear Not Farm says we haven't had a problem with the chickens getting into it, but sometimes the pasture pigs have got a little carried away with it, and the cows consume a lot of them. Our cows are definitely food motivated. It's good that the cows eat them, except for cows aren't as finicky as goats. So I prefer to just give them a good mineral mix and not high dollar stuff. Does that make sense?
I have like loose
minerals.
minerals.
Starla says, B, look at TCI Mineral.
TCI mineral?
You want a pen?
Yeah, I do.
You got one? Okay. Animals instinctively know what they need, will search for it, so leaving it freely available. Yeah. All right. Oops.
So for the cows, I have garlic salt from like Redmond's, and then I have kelp and baking soda and loose. It was like just a big bag of brown, looked like sand, but it was like loose mineral. And there's one more thing in there. I can't think of what it is. That's all for the cows. So, and if the goats can get in there, then I got that for the goats also.
Well, why'd you send me pictures of whipping cream?
Oh, well, the whipping cream, I didn't buy it, but I had walked past it and I was like, oh my gosh, does that say $10.37? $10.37 for whipping cream? That is crazy. I'm glad I didn't need any.
And you bought a bunch of ginger because you're going to plant it. Right?
Yeah, so I found this big thing of ginger. Does it say how big that is?
1.75 pounds.
Yeah, so almost 2 pounds of ginger for I was gonna plant it and it was like $5. I thought, I sent Jen a message and I said, hey, can I plant this? And she said, absolutely. So I got it. Never know when you need some ginger.
Gratitude to Grace said the saying, if you're going through hell, keep on moving applies. The only way the other side of this mess is through it, unfortunately. I agree with that. And, we're fighting, and I'm going to say fighting. Fighting isn't even the right word. We're applying pressure to the best of our ability right here, from a local level, trying to make a difference, in our community. And then obviously coming and speaking to all you great people on YouTube and Facebook and these other places to try to get them, other people to stand up and do the same thing. And I've had some amazing, amazing emails from people, across the country that said, hey, you inspired me to go open this business, or you inspired me to go take this stand. And so you hope that those tiny little bites, make a difference.
Lot of those. So.
I do. I get a lot. I get them all the time. And it's really empowering to me to know that, okay, I'm on the right path, and to not listen to the critic and to just keep driving into it and trying to figure out. And I've got some critics. There are many, many critics, but I've got a lot of really good allies too. Mm-hmm. Plumber Mickey says here in Michigan, they can only raise taxes 5% annually, but no matter what the appraisal does, I bet you can guess how much taxes go up every year. Yep, 5%. So in 10 years, it's 50%. Right? Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I like the ones designed to allow animals to self-regulate consumption based on individual needs. That is the TCI concept. That's what B has.
Well,
Well,
the
yours are-
individual ones I don't. I
You
the
have
big-
feeders that have 3 compartments in them.
Yes, but
Right.
this is what I think what she's talking about. There's like, I don't know, 10 or something different too. Like, remember how they had the goat lady had, she had one barn, and I was like, oh, that's crazy. Well, this barn was just for her like minerals. And when I say it was a barn, it was a small barn. And she had the whole wall was lined with these PVC things, and then up above that was like these bags, and I was like, what is all those bags? And it was just bulk minerals that to fill all of these tubes. And I was like, and they had all of them were labeled, S something something something, and I thought that was very, very cool.
Yep. Steph K says Justin Rhodes built a mineral stand for his cows. He put a rubber flap on top to keep the water out, and the animals just lift the flap with their heads. It's super easy. Yeah. B's got 2 big round concrete ones that have 3 compartments in it and the big rubber flap over the top of it. So they flip that flap up. And it's not a building. It's just these big round concrete things.
Yeah, just in the field.
Hey, Lindsay, welcome in, bud. How are you?
But I didn't know that that flap is kind of heavy and it's wonky.
Scotch wants to know, I wonder how many critics actually do anything to make a difference in a positive way. Oh, I can tell you, I not a lot. That would be my say. Not a lot.
I think that if you ask them, they think that they're doing wonderful things.
Yeah. It's not enough to just bitch on YouTube and Facebook. You got to go get involved.
Yeah.
And I mean, don't misunderstand, Facebook and YouTube have their place. And again, it lets me reach many people. It lets me impact people and lets people impact me. And so that's all good, but you got to get involved. Let's see if You're Not Farm says, well, I guess to be fair, inflation is probably more than 5% a year in the last 6 or 7. So at least they're not increasing taxes by the inflation rate. Yeah, but that's all. It's kind of like saying, at least they're taxing me on income tax and not on property tax, because inflation is just another tax. So not only do you get the 5%, you get the inflation on everything else. And, super cool that we, pay 2 points less on, our property tax because our inflation tax is 7%. To me, that's kind of like, I don't know why I can't celebrate either side of that,
No.
Hey, Can Spotch,
And it's
welcome in.
never ever gone down.
How are you? MJ from Wisconsin. How are you? Good to see you.
Oh yeah. Long time no see.
Yes, Steph says super smart. Yeah, I've actually bought them at an auction. Right?
Yeah.
And just put them out there. But
he got a great deal.
Yeah, and I got a great deal, of course. I've been working up in Pod 4. I am closing in, guys. This Pod 4 has been the forever thing. And before I say anything, yes, that's a TV sitting in the windowsill over there.
Yes, he carries the TV around everywhere he goes to work because, he has to watch sports ball.
But it's not just that. I watch a lot of podcasts. I listen to. How do you suppose I know all of the stuff that I do for Friday Lives?
I thought
I'm
somebody
working.
just called you and told you.
Yeah, no. But anyway, so we're working our way through that.
Yes.
Yeah, be cleaning it up, and I got the floor in, so that's good. So a little closer.
Getting closer.
Yeah, Fear Not Farm says, I think property tax is a scam no matter what. I actually think it's the one thing that stops us from ever actually being free. I think we can find a way around everything else and still be able to claim some level of freedom. But with you never actually owning your property, with you just renting it from the government, I don't know how we ever find a way to freedom. I think property tax should be the number one fight in this country. Because without it, I just don't know how you get anywhere else.
Yeah.
And, anyway. So anyway, Pod 4 getting close, right? Closing in. Let's see here. Nito says,
got the door in too.
What I don't get is they raise the value so they can get more money, even with a 5% limit. Okay, yeah, but this is super, super important because what they're saying is we're not going to raise taxes but 5%. But through inflation, right, and the value of your home increasing, we're going to raise it there too. So not only do they get the 5%, but they also get that amount that raised 5% on the increased value of your home, right? It's a scam. It's a complete scam. In my county, property taxes did not go up a single penny this last year. And yet my personal taxes went from 3,200 to 7,100. And it's because of assessed value. An absolute joke.
It's 75.
What?
Did you say 7,100?
7,100, I think.
It's
Isn't it?
75.
Whatever it is. I do get 5% more services from the township every year. Rural areas where I have very little services of any kind. Yeah. I hate that too. Yeah. Helen Happy Harvest says no more property tax. Yep. I agree. Jen says, looks like you're getting closer.
Yes.
Well, I got something done. Right. That was good. And you notice the TV's gone because I've moved on to somewhere else.
Yeah. He's in the next area. And that TV's with him.
See that picture I took
No,
of you?
where'd you get that? Where were you?
I was going somewhere. I was in my truck and I was driving by and B was chopping ice.
Yeah.
Our paddock 1, for any of you guys that
Oh,
don't
you're
know,
on the opposite side.
I'm on the opposite side. I'm on the warehouse side.
Mm-hmm.
B was out there chopping ice. This is the life, right?
Yes.
This is before the snow hit today.
This was today? No.
No, it wasn't today.
Yesterday.
Yes, it was a couple days ago. Fairmont Farm says, well, I think you also have to look at the turnpikes. Oh, you mean those roads that they say if the taxpayers just pay a little extra as soon as it's paid for, we'll give it back, and then they just never stop construction, so it never goes back, right? How ridiculous is that? I could write a book. An absolute book.
Don't.
Yeah. So this is actually inside the warehouse, and I thought I'd share this guys with you. This is Rosie, and Rosie, we have 2 livestock guardian dogs. And one of them wants to be with the livestock, sleeps all night long or sleeps all day long so she can be up all night long. She wants a pat on the head and she's good. This one thinks that she's a human and she needs to be with humans all the time and she needs to be around you all the time and you need to be petting her all the time. And she's very, 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 very needy.
Yeah, she's up on the picnic table outside of the building looking in.
Here, I'll give you a picture to put it in perspective.
Yeah.
Right? She's standing on the picnic table, looking in the window of the warehouse, going, come on, guys, let me in. She's a mess. Fairmont Farm says, and it's ran by private corporations at that, but the states will enforce their collection through refusing to give you a license or a tag for your car. Ridiculous. Yeah. Nito said the geese sure love those holes in the ice. Yeah, B put out a short. She went down and chopped holes in the ice with the axe, and then the geese automatically just jumped right in and started swimming. I mean, it's like 4 degrees outside, and the geese are in the water swimming, throwing it all over their heads and taking a bath.
Yeah.
They're absolutely.
And they don't wait until I'm done either. They're standing at my feet waiting for me to finish the hole.
Yeah. What's the temperature in Kansas right now? It's probably -4 or 5, probably.
Yeah.
Is that about right for tonight? Yeah, -4 or 5 right now. Oh my goodness. Crooked Terminator says right now it's -30 Celsius. That's really cold.
Which is what, Fahrenheit?
That's really, really cold. Yeah. Helen Happy Harvest says she wants to come in because she's a cold doggy.
Yeah. Actually, she's not. They like to be outside.
Yeah. Yeah. When I let them in, like in the warehouse here, which I do, they'll come lay down and like Violet, the other one, when I was down here, slept next to me on the floor next to the fire for a couple hours, and she was done. She had her fill, and so she left. Kansas wants to know how much we get up our way. Right now, we've got about 6 inches, as at least according to the weather, the news, right?
That's what it was about 5 o'clock this afternoon.
Oh, thank you, Skanes Girl. Skanes Girl says it's 2 feels like -11.
Yeah.
Yeah. My buddy Mo says, I think a lot of people think they are making progress against the issues, but are really manufacturing their own cage. 1 step forward and 2 steps back. Yeah, this is what I worry about. Yeah. Ryan says, I show 3 degrees with -11 wind chill right now. Yeah, it's cold. It's cold, cold, cold. I'm looking forward to this being over. I can tell you that. So this is a picture right before the sun went down outside. This is out one of the windows in the building that we're looking in right now. They were looking out, and I was looking out. Yeah, at the time. And so that's Bee's barn, her turkey coop, her chicken coop. Yeah, that's all bee stuff over there.
And the wind hasn't collected on the roof because the wind is or the snow hasn't collected on the roof because the wind's blowing.
Nito said minus 30 Celsius is minus 22 Fahrenheit.
Mm.
Yeah, Starlit Oak says 3 degrees with a wind chill of minus 9. Yeah. Terminator said we have between 4 and 5 feet of snow. Oh my God. Feet. Helen says it's 7 degrees here in Finger Lakes, New York. Wow. Yeah, Ken Squatch says, wow, only 4 inches down here in KC. Wow, wow, wow. Skanes Girl says it was up to my shin in places when I walked the dogs just before dark, and it was still snowing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I elected not to plow today. I'll do it tomorrow, maybe, depending on how much we end up getting. At some point, when it's just 3 or 4 inches or 5 inches of snow, it doesn't make any sense to plow because you're just moving your gravel around. But if it does need to be done, I'll get up first thing in the morning and I'll get it all plowed out of there. It will be cool said, did you know that minus 40 is the same Fahrenheit and Celsius? I did not know this. Let's see here. Somehow we still have 3 avocado trees in the walking that don't look dead. 3 out of 4.
Wow.
Bee's been growing avocados for years. We've never actually got an avocado. just
I just love them.
Plumber Mickey said warm up a bit here. 4 degrees, wind chill minus 2. Hey Jamie, welcome in. Says 7 in Ohio, minus 8 last night. Yeah, good serve friend says waiting for the storm to arrive at 11 p.m. Let's see here. And Fear Not Farms says my wife Shayla sells those free choice minerals. I think it's like $75 for a 1 pound pack of all of them. I would suggest starting with 1 pound of all of them and seeing which one they go after. Fear Not Farm. Hey, one of the mods out there, can you put my email address in the chat? It's and contact me and we'll have a conversation about it. Easy peasy. Yeah, once you know what they go after the most, you don't typically have to buy all of them that often, just a few. Got it. Yeah, we're very new to goats. We've just gotten, we've had cows, turkeys, chickens, geese, all them for quite a while, but we are definitely new to. Oh,
the goats.
Love runs rampant. Welcome in. Says nothing here yet in Smithburg, Maryland. Hagerstown is close by, and hope we get lots of snow. Less ice would be good. Yeah, I'd much rather have the snow than the ice.
And the snow we have right now is very dry.
That's the picture. I'm in the same room I'm in right now, but out the back towards the pond. You can see the dock down there in the pond. It's completely frozen over, obviously. And you got to love it. Oh, look at that. Regenerative Orchards, how are you? Says, evening all. Did I miss the good news? No, I haven't gotten to it yet, but we're closing in.
Yep.
We are closing into the good news. All right. Obviously, you guys know big snowstorm, a big storm going on. It's a couple things that I found interesting about this is one, they were talking about it 2,000 miles long, which is absolutely crazy. But I thought, because, you guys are my conspiracy theory buddies, that I'd share with you guys a conspiracy theory. Coincidence? No, they say. We have way too much evidence now to demonstrate that the United States Air Force is actively involved in the creation of this incoming major storm. How many lives need to be lost before people start waking up to what is happening? Remember the children lost to the storm in Texas? Many thanks to Chandra Morse for this flight tracker information. They said Americans stopped spending. Then the winter ice storm forced everyone to buy everything. A woman isn't claiming a conspiracy. She's just pointing out a very real, strange timeline. First, the government officials complain that Americans are not spending enough after Christmas. Then the stock market dips. Then suddenly there's a mystery winter storm and everyone is told to rush out and buy groceries that didn't budget for. Forecast then says that the storm is going to hit the south, so the southern states panic and buy. Forecast shifts to the north. Northern states go panic and buy. Shelves wiped out, cards swiped, savings gone, all right after warnings about weak consumer spending. She says it's probably just a coincidence, but the timing is interesting. What do you think of that?
Right.
Yep.
And if we can install some fear while we're at it, then they'll stay tuned. We can get these people stay tuned to us. Yep. They can tune in. They can spend more.
Yeah, there's my email address. Thank you, Jen. And Regenerative Orchard said velocity of money is a real thing. It makes you wonder. It is absolutely a real thing. Absolutely makes you wonder. you guys see those pictures of the storm in Russia? Thought I'd share them with you. Now, guys, I know.
Oh my gosh.
I am still having a hard time believing these are real. I have looked and looked and looked, and they're posted in many places. They say they're real, that these are just big snow drifts that the wind blew up. But oh my goodness, could you imagine?
Those are like 20 feet taller than the buildings.
Yeah, and like that building's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 stories tall. Could you imagine?
No.
Starlet says, me and Tamara were talking about that day before yesterday, but also wondering if not a distraction too.
Yeah.
Hy-Vee and Price Chopper Groceries had sales this weekend. Thunder snow is going on in the south. I only saw that one time in my 50 years. Hope to hear that again. And there's a few pictures of this ongoing storm that I thought were just like, look at that. Like that's crazy.
I don't believe it.
Babe, you know what? I thought the same thing. It's just AI.
Yeah. Look at how it wraps around that building.
Absolutely crazy, huh? Just crazy. Anyway.
I had not seen those before.
Yep. What's next? So you guys know that Kansas just became the 20th state to join the Convention of States. There's an Article 5 convention, and they need to get 34 states to agree to do it, and then they can talk about amending the Constitution. And, this has me worried in some ways, so I just thought I would share it with you guys. If what the Constitution of States delivers us is things like a balanced budget, right? Term limits, I think it would be great to get, behind it. But I worry about it too. And I posted this came on, I found this off Facebook, but a Convention of States board member, Robert P. George, one of his suggestions was neither the states nor and this is a reference to the Second Amendment. I'm just adapting the Second Amendment just a little bit to say that neither the states nor the United States shall make or enforce any law infringing the right to keep and bear arms of the sort ordinarily used for self-defense and recreational purposes, provided that states in the United States in places subject to its general regulatory authority may enact and enforce reasonable regulations on the bearing of arms and the keeping of arms by persons determined with due process to be dangerous to themselves or others. You know how dangerous that statement is? We could pick this apart forever. And I don't think this will ever go anywhere, but my point is still the same. If we create a convention of states that can change the Declaration of Independence, then it can change it either way.
Yeah.
For the positive or the negative. Real quick, I just thought I'd run down this one for you. So it says the sort of that they shall not infringe upon the right to keep and bear arms of the sort ordinarily used for self-defense. So what does that mean? What is the sort ordinarily used? Who gets to determine it's ordinary? Does that mean we just get black powder rifles like at the time that the Constitution was written? This is a great way to get rid of everything except 22s and shotguns, right? So that's ridiculous. And then may enact and enforce reasonable regulations of bearing arms and keeping of arms by persons determined with due process to be dangerous to themselves. So what you're saying is you're going to put someone's constitutional rights in the hands of a judge or the hands of a doctor or whatever it is. I mean, PTSD, is PTSD a mental disorder?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Because if it is, right, and they say that it is, what a great way to disarm veterans. I mean, I don't know who would be interested in disarming all of our veterans, but this is super dangerous language.
Right.
I wouldn't support anything like that. This is completely ridiculous. Unfortunately, I've said this a million times in my lives, we can have safety or we can have freedom, but we can't have both. You got to pick one of them. And unfortunately, if guns in the hands of people, you're going to have tragedies. You're absolutely going to have them. But a society where people don't have guns, you're going to get genocide.
And tragedies.
Well, genocide is a much larger scale. Not to downplay a shooting or something, but way worse. Let's go. There's so many good comments up here. I bet.
Which would be tragic.
Yeah. Fear Not Farm says, I don't agree with that at all. Yeah, I don't either. Right? Love runs rampant. So dangerous. They sit here and they act like they're trying to do a good thing for the Second Amendment. And they say that unless we deem you to be unsafe. Right.
Right.
It's completely arbitrary. Wherever a piece of legislation is actually that small, you should be worried. Yep. They have hidden so much with the lack of verbiage. Totally agree. Second Amendment must be upheld. Yep. And then love runs rampant. What's considered reasonable, right? Another great point, right?
Because it'll be different.
Yep. Mo says the Second Amendment is becoming useless. What good is it against drones, AI, and privacy violations? Yeah, actually, it's a great point. An absolute great point. Yeah. Plumber Mickey says, I don't trust the government to determine ordinary. Right. Every country that removed guns from its citizens is living under tyranny. The government doesn't fear the citizenry anymore. No, it does not.
Well, no, they're telling us when we can burn.
I don't even know how to pronounce this. C. Borgum Goat. How are you? We're going to have a nice day. All right. Let's keep it trucking, huh? All right. So here's one that blew my mind from this week. Ron DeSantis says that the idea that the federal government would require auto manufacturers to equip cars with a kill switch that can be controlled by the government is something you'd expect in Orwell's 1984. Federal law says new cars after 2026 must monitor drivers and shut down if the car disapproves. Your dashboard should not be the judge, jury, and executioner. So basically what they're saying here is that there's a law, and they tried to stop it, Senator Massey and some of them, and I'll read some more of these, to stop a law that requires cars manufactured after 2026 to have a government-controlled kill switch in them. Kill switches give government the ability to shut off your car at their discretion. They are Orwellian, wrong, and must be stopped. That's why last night I voted to defund this travesty. This is, instead of helping us pass the amendment, 57 Republicans joined 211 Democrats to block it. Yep. Rep Keith Self says, unbelievably disturbing. 57 House Republicans just joined almost all the Democrats to ensure the government can shut your car off whenever it wants. I read that one. The looming Orwellian automobile kill switch deadline threatens civil liberties. When your car shuts down because it doesn't approve of your driving, how will you appeal your roadside conviction, says Thomas Massey. This is completely Orwellian. Let's see here. Yes, Gainsborough says, who decides who's dangerous to themselves and other? A doctor. So that means our constitutional rights be held in the hand of a doctor, right? About a half dozen things in there that are up for determination. Yeah. And we want to steer away from anything that's arbitrary. That's why shall not be infringed is so important. You know, Can Squatch says Case versus Montana Supreme Court takes another bite out of the Fourth Amendment. I will have to read that. I'm not. Case versus Montana. I'll look it up. OnStar and the like already does that. Yeah, I don't think it's about necessarily equipping the car. I think it's about making it legal to shut your car off. Right?
Right.
Because I'm sure a lot of them already have that and they're ready for, boom, the switch. This is a great excuse, guys. Hey, listen, this is a message to all you ladies out there. Super important. If your husband wants to build an old car, let him. Right? Let him. You know, instead of investing $75,000 in a new pickup, go build one.
Right.
You don't have to worry about half these problems. You know what I mean?
Yep.
All right. To add to this, Germany just flipped the kill switch on the Lexus cars, disabling remote starts in the dead of winter. This is going on right now. Because warming up your vehicle, your own vehicle before work, now that's unnecessary pollution. So what starts as we're going to turn off a bad car to protect you because it's a bad guy, because it's a terrorist, because it's a bank robber, turns into, oh, you're using too much energy.
Yeah.
Let's shut it off, before you can warm up.
Yeah.
The World Economic Forum said it plainly, you will own nothing. And now it's happening. Renting features, renting heat, renting freedom. The pretext is the climate. The real goal is control in electric vehicles. They're even easier to shut down. Today it's your car. Tomorrow it's your fridge, your heat, your bank account. One wrong post and Planeteer's AI could decide who no longer deserves access. The solution, unplug now. Say no to smart cars. Say no to smart anything, because if you don't control the on switch, someone else does. This is really, really important. Okay, let's see here. Let me go back. Okay, here, I'll put it back. I'm going to put it right here in the comments, right underneath there, okay? My hands are cold. You get that right? Yep, there we go. Okay, I'm putting it right back in the comments. There you go. And if your wife wants to rebuild an old Suburban, let her. I did not mean that sexist 100% husbands. If you have a wife that's into cars and wants to build one, let's do it. All right, 100%. Thank you for the correction, Jen. Yep, let's see here. I got to go get the emails that buy too quick for me to grab. Ours is in our about page, I believe. Good night. I'm glad I found y'all talk about similar stuff in familiar with. Excellent. Okay, at the World Economic Forum, this is one of the speakers that's going on this week, said if you can get people to share a car, you can take out a lot of cars. Even if you don't know your neighbor, you can use their car. World Economic Forum 2026 in Davos is about to begin. Billionaires flying in their private jets to tell you their plans for the rest of humanity. Such plans previously included you having to share your car with your neighbor. And the Davos 2026 World Economic Forum has now commenced. Something I found super interesting about it too, by the way. So it began, and if you guys remember, some of the previous things that they had talked about was you'll own nothing and be happy. Right? We see the constant pressure of that with property taxes and all of the things that are going on. Right? They said meat will be a treat, right? And price of cattle's at an all-time high.
Yeah.
Right? They said Western values will be tested to its breaking point. Look at what's going on in Minnesota. Right? And so now we head into 2026, and the cover on The Economist magazine I found super fascinating, and I'll blow it up here in my next slide. But if you look at that ball, it's basically a guy kicking a ball. And in that ball, there are missiles, there are syringes with needles. President Trump's in it. The 250th anniversary of America's in it. Vikings are in it. There's handcuffs and a fist raising. There's tanks. The dollar sign, which I find super fascinating as well. There's a big melting ice cube. Like there's a lot of really
There's a shipping
interesting.
container boat.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting stuff. And again, I'll blow it up on the next slide, but it says, I want to offer my personal interpretation of the latest cover in The Economist, which has raised a lot of questions. So I'll try to do my best in order to decipher it with an eye on financial markets. Main thesis, the central thesis of my interpretation is that the cover of the world ahead, which is the theme this year, depicts a world being structured to function under permanent instability, war, economic stress, technological disruptions, health, intervention, cultural conflict. Everything is part of an interdependent mechanism of a single system where instability is the operating condition through which power is exercised and maintained. This is really important because really, just like it's always been going on, they create a bad guy, and when that bad guy is gone, they create a new bad guy, right? And we're always in this constant state of fear. It's, World War III, or it's, a pandemic, or it's whatever it is, happens to be at any given moment. Now it's the snowpocalypse this week.
Yeah.
But it's always something. And I think that's kind of what they're talking about. But what I also find interesting, there's no borders in the world, right? That big circle of the world, there's no borders. It's all one, which I find pretty interesting.
I didn't even notice the guy kicking it.
Yeah.
The ball.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's just absolutely crazy to me. But anyway, I was going to show you guys a bigger one of it. And again, the graphic wasn't great.
You blew it up.
I just blew it up just in an effort to try to see it a little bit better. But there's a lot in there. You could spend a whole day just looking at this picture, trying to decipher what the heck it means. Because there's clearly rockets there designed to go to space. There's nuclear missiles there. There's smaller missiles there. There's Trump. I'm assuming that one's Xi Jinping and Putin behind him. And they're divided, which I also find very interesting. I think the game controller with the extension cord plugged directly into the mind is pretty interesting.
The mind? I was going to say the brain.
Same kind of thing.
I know, but that's weird that you came up with the mind.
Yeah, never let a good crisis go to waste. Our type of people are going to be the ones who don't even realize when the cars get shut down because we choose differently. Like the dirt poor hillbillies in the Depression. Amen. They didn't buy food. So, yep. Anyways, if you guys haven't seen this art, I would really encourage you to look at it because it will absolutely send you down a rabbit hole that is.
Too bad. Where'd you see this? Can we make it clearer?
I made it as clear as I could. I looked for the highest definition picture I could find, and then I blew it up. And so that makes it hard. It's just not that clear, but
Yeah.
there's lots of satellites connecting to lots of things. Like see the satellite connecting to the shipping containers, right?
Mm.
See, there's lots of that kind of stuff going on, but this is a super fascinating picture that I would encourage. There's a gavel. Oh, that's interesting. There's like a court gavel that
With a
you know,
mouth?
you know the little round thing they smack it on. It's broken. See that?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It looks like a mouth. Looks like teeth going.
Yeah, it's actually I think it's
Yeah.
a mallet from a court, and the round base is broken. This is super
Like,
fascinating.
yeah. Order in the court.
Yep. Steph says that picture looks like a warning. Definitely fear-based and violent. That's what I think too. Like, there's not a lot of I mean, other than the birthday cake that's, 250 years for America, and the balloons in the background with big nuclear missiles and the fist in the sky.
With a handcuff.
With a handcuff. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
You want me to print that out for you?
Not
You
that
just want to go back
blurry.
to the goats, right?
Not that blurry.
B just wants to go back to the goats.
Yeah.
Yeah. Squatchy says, and they do it through kids like the one kicking the ball. Great.
Nice.
Yep. There is the cake with 250 on it for the US. Yep. Again, I said, if you look real close though, Nitos, there's the cake with the 250 for the US. And behind it, there's a fist and 3 nuclear missiles. And behind that, the American flag.
Yeah.
Right. Again, I could just, let's see here. Love Runs Rampant says, is that a blue fist in handcuffs? What is that trying to say? I think it's saying that they're preparing for uprisings, right? That they're planning for instability. I think that's what all of this says, because
Did you see this kind of boat?
the Viking boat,
Yeah, totally
yeah,
different.
I think they're planning for instability. I mean, there's instability in the courts. I can see that. Obviously, lots of missiles, right? There's
This looks like a grenade, but it looks like a man
looks like a guy under the water.
under the water.
Maybe it's an alien. There's a lot of stuff about that going around lately too. I don't know. Yeah,
Huh.
no, that's a guy in a medical suit carrying a box. So obviously that's a pandemic or something. Who knows, right? Yep, needle on
Yeah,
the right for
weird.
injection, says Plumber Mickey. Yeah, pretty interesting. So when they asked the World Economic Forum, some of the first stuff that had come up was the global risk ranked by severity through the World Economic Forum. And number 1 on their list is geoeconomic confrontations. And so that's a lot of words, right? What they're really saying, I think what they're saying is they're bashing on Trump and the tariffs, I think. Oh, look at that, Jen, for the win. Look at that. She said Vikings, Greenland, question mark, because the Viking ship. Oh, yep. Mo made another interesting thing. Not a single gun or terrorist. No, but nuclear missiles. Yeah, Nito says, I took the missiles and the fist as what Trump is demanding from the rest of the world with threats. Oh, maybe? Yeah. So anyway, it's geoeconomic confrontations followed by misinformation and disinformation. So it's interesting. They're bashing, I think, Trump. This was at least my interpretation, the first from the geoeconomic confrontations, because I actually looked it up. And it says geoeconomic confrontations refers to the strategic use of economic policies, such as trade restriction, tariff sanctions, and investment controls. So I think that's 1. 2, they're saying the biggest risk is misinformation and disinformation. So they'll certainly be welcoming in, right, control of social media, right, just like what's going on in Europe right now, where people be getting arrested for hurtful posts or whatever it is, right? So I think you're going to see a lot more of that digital ID, the tokenization of everything, more censorship. Number 3 is societal polarization. And again, I think this is a little bit of a swing at Trump as well. But all of those first 3 require censorship and control. Number 4 was extreme weather events. And I think that's kind of hard to argue with, right? I mean, the weather is absolutely weird. And we could spend a whole show talking about why that's the case. State-based armed conflict would be number 5, which again, that's going on everywhere, right? Number 6 was cybersecurity. Number 7 was inequality, which again requires more control.
I can't believe you can read all those
How can you not believe that?
because I can't see them.
What are you doing?
I was looking in your pocket.
Oh my God, I'm sitting here reading to you guys and she's going through my pockets.
I'm just going through one pocket.
Oh my goodness. Let me guess, you're going to go check the fire.
No.
Oh,
Do you want me to go check the
no,
fire?
you're fine. Anyway, let's see here. Number 8 was the erosion of human rights and or civic freedoms, which you think that'd be number 1. Number 9 was pollution, and number 10, involuntary migration or displacement. So these are their worries, short term, meaning the next 2 years. Long term, they think the biggest fears are extreme weather events, which they'll, obviously will be global warming, biodiversity loss, and ecosystem collapse, again, from global warming, critical change to Earth systems, again, global warming, okay, followed by misinformation, disinformation, adverse outcomes to AI technology, right? Again, which is why they need total control, natural resource shortages, okay, inequality, 7 in both of them, followed by cybersecurity, social polarization, and pollution. Fascinating to me. Conserve friend says your pockets. Well, it is Saturday night. I'm like, what are you doing? Get your hands out of my pocket. What is going on?
I'm cold.
So why are you're
I
weird.
was looking to see.
I love
if
you,
it
baby.
was-
You are an odd duck. All right, let's keep it trucking on this stuff. So just in a jaw-dropping move that had the globalist elite reeling, President Donald Trump today officially launched and signed the charter for his revolutionary Board of Peace. Yep, this is the replacement for the United Nations. The UK reject the Trump's peace plan as 35 nations sign up. So 35 nations have agreed to join Trump's peace board, and the European Union is scrambling. Speaking from Davos, it was revealed that 35 countries have signed up to Trump's proposed peace agreement. Asked whether Britain would join, Home Secretary Yvette Cooper ruled it out, citing opposition to Putin and sticking to the current Russian line. So while dozens of nations move towards de-escalation, Britain once again chooses the sidelines, slogans, and endless conflict. Breaking: Putin accepts Trump's peace offer. President Vladimir Putin says Russia is prepared to contribute $1 billion to President Trump's proposed Board of Peace using frozen assets left behind by the previous administration. You guys, I've been saying this for a long, long time that I think Trump and Putin collectively are trying to fight this new world order thing. They're trying to fight the deep state. And I don't think you see it, but I think this is, crazy that Putin would agree to invest and be part of that peace board. Trump just handed Putin a script. So now that they say, hey, this is a great idea, right? Because of, we need Greenland, we need all of these things. So Lavrov is now saying if Greenland is U.S. security, then Crimea is Russian security. And if you guys remember, I shared with you guys a long time ago that I think kind of a chance of what happens here is that American kind of claims the Western Hemisphere, which is Venezuela, that's Greenland, that's Canada, that's Mexico, that's, Central America. Russia gets its old position back in Europe, which would be Ukraine and, all of that stuff over there. China gets Taiwan, and everyone's happy and goes away. And I think that this is a likely outcome, assuming they can beat the deep state stuff going on. So for us as humans, I think it's really sad either way. I don't think either one of them are great. Like we're choosing between, the Great Reset, the New World Order, and the 3 dictators or whatever. So it seems like to me that whole World War thing's been going on. It's going on behind the scenes. And we'll see if I'm right or I'm wrong. But I've been saying this for some time, and I'll continue to.
None of them seem like good options.
Yeah, President Trump just put Spain on blast at the Board of Peace ceremony for trying to freeload off of NATO. He says, I don't know what's happening with Spain. Why would they do that? They want a free ride. I guess we're going to have to talk to Spain. This is what real leadership looks like, claims Barron Trump. Let's see here. Let's get some comments. Mo says, in jail, putting your hands in a guy's pocket means he's your sweetheart.
Thank you for letting us know that, Mo.
I want to know, Mo, how you know this. I think this gets to a bigger question. Gypsy says, wait a minute. I thought the world was going to end by 2030. Well, here's the good news, Your Highness, is Jeff is old enough to know that it was at one time acid rain. which was followed by melting ice caps, which was followed by all of the other things that were going to end the world in the next few. And yet here we are with the World Economic Forum deciding what comes next. Major truth nuke for NATO and Europe. President Trump wielded America's first like a master in Davos. The U.S. is 70% of the funding of NATO and 90% of its muscle. You want to know what the biggest air force in the world is? Trump says, the U.S. Air Force. You want to know what the second biggest air force in the world is? It's the U.S. Army. You want to actually, you know what the third largest air force in the world is? Oh, yeah, that's the U.S. Navy. The U.S. out of NATO is pretty much the end of Europe as we know it. And the fourth is China. And the fifth is Russia. I don't see any other NATO countries on that list. So I think what Trump's been saying and the points that he's been making is we've been bailing them out a long, long time. And it's time we don't do that anymore. And this may just be a theory, but I bet Trump promised NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte that the U.S. would leave NATO if a Greenland deal isn't made. And you guys, this is a gigantic thing. I don't know if that's true, but assuming that Trump told NATO that, look, we're going to bail out of NATO, we're going to destroy NATO unless you give us Greenland, will absolutely work, and he'll end up with Greenland. Because here's the thing, NATO can't protect itself. NATO can't even fund itself. I mean, the United States is all of it, right? As I mentioned earlier, it's 70% of the funding and 90% of the muscle. I mean, that's a game of leverage or stroke. You guys have heard me talk about that a million times, you know? I don't know. I guess we shall see. Trump says he doesn't believe that NATO would come to the support of the United States if they had requested it. Trump raises an important question to all NATO nations. What is the value of membership to you? Is it worth the cost in money and possible lives of your loved ones? Other countries should not expect the United States to sacrifice our treasure and potentially the lives of our loved ones to protect countries who are not ready to make the similar sacrifices. Hillary Clinton and the warmongering elite refuse to face this question and instead resort to fear-mongering and mudslinging. Plumber Mickey says, the world has been ending in 10 years or less since the 50s. Right. All right. Central banker at the World Economic Forum warns that the privatization of money is an immediate threat to their power. He says currencies issued by U.S. firms are especially dangerous to national monetary sovereignty, and says his solution is to create a central bank digital currency to maintain public control. BlackRock CEO Larry Fink admits the intention to tokenize all of your assets and manage them via the blockchain. This means everything you own will have a value attached to it. Everything will be purchased through a digital currency, the system, and accounted for. This equates to complete control. And this, guys, I'm telling you, will totally be sold as we can get rid of corruption. If we just bring in central bank digital currency, if we just bring in digital ID, we can get rid of all of these illegals. We can get rid of all this corruption in government. If we just do this, and to a thundering applause, it will go.
Yeah. And it won't.
Of course it
fix
won't.
anything.
Of course it won't. At the World Economic Forum, Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez calls for the abolition of autonomy on social media. He argues that linking users' accounts to the European digital identity is essential to tackle misinformation and hate speech. You know what's more dangerous than hate speech? The words, "you're not allowed." Right? Which is exactly what they're calling for. In world news, in a stunning reversal that has left global alliances in tatters, French President Emmanuel Macron has openly declared Europe should roll out the red carpet for massive Chinese investment. We need more Chinese direct investment in Europe in some key sectors. And that's because of, Trump kind of pulling back. They're looking for another ally to protect them. BlackRock CEO Larry Fink openly revealed at the World Economic Forum that may have suspected that the World Economic Forum isn't just about discussion, it's about shaping your thoughts. According to Fink, the forum's main objective is to expose the public to a broader range of voices and ideas while pushing deeper engagement with people. Listen to this. This is so important. You guys got to totally read between the lines, right? So the goal is a broader range of voices, right? This is a one world government. This is the deciders themselves saying, this is what you should think. And these are the ideas we should portray. In reality, this is a strategy to sell the idea that global control should outweigh national sovereignty, convincing ordinary citizens to accept decisions made by a handful of powerful elites. The question is, should we really let a few select dictators dictate the future of entire nations? Yeah. Oh, look at all those comments. Yeah. Maintain control. I call BS. I call BS too. All right. Let's see here. The main thing I got out of that speech was Trump knows the World Economic Forum is attempting to do, and the U.S. will not be participating. I don't know if I agree with that, conservative friends. I think the U.S. very well might participate in all of it if they get the deal they want. I think this is all negotiating, right?
Yeah.
It's all leveraging. It's all playing this
Makes
game,
sense.
and Trump's the master of it. Like him, don't like him. He is good at that stuff. Let's see here. Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney, major address at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland, is causing shockwaves worldwide. This is Canada. Says, friends, it is time for companies and countries to take their signs down. Which that means is government controlled, right? So if a company don't have a sign, what does that mean? If countries don't have signs, what does that mean? Carney called on the world's middle powers to band together to resist coercion from aggressive superpowers and create new alliances because the U.S. rules-based international order has effectively ended. Let me be direct. We're in the midst of a rupture, not a transition. Yeah, these are the leaders out there saying this, B. I didn't make it up. Mark Carney has officially doubled down on this position that we're moving towards the new world order, and he says that the world should not grieve the old order, quote, nostalgia is not a strategy. Yeah, and it's funny how you and me, we've been talking about New World Order for a long, long time, and now all of a sudden it's being talked about at the stages of the World Economic Forum, and it used to just be a far-right conspiracy. Let's see, Ursula at the World Economic Forum. In 1971 was the year the U.S. dollar was de-linked from gold. From that instant, the entire global monetary system effectually collapsed. I agree. It was a warning in this case to decrease our dependency on foreign currency. She says, she doesn't say it out loud, but Ursula is talking about the inevitable great global financial reset, which we all know is coming, because there is no way they can possibly pay off the debt. There is no way that we're ever going to get all of that back. We're going to have something, war, whatever it is, that would come to be to take care of that. French President Emmanuel Macron told the World Economic Forum that the current global world order is under threat and must be actively reinforced. He wanted that so-called fixed wars on rapidly increasing and becoming normalized across the world. Macron wants international laws to be strengthened and enforced to govern the behavior of nations. Danish, the Prime Minister, Anders, said to Trump, and this is a quote, right, from the Danish, the head dude over there says, let me put it in words you might understand, Mr. President. Fuck off.
Funny.
Quote. Let's see here. Steph says, I'm not scared of what's going to happen to the economy, the government. I want local and family business to be the focus. Problem is it's all affected, right? And Steph, this is something we really have to balance here all the time. We're super involved in what happens locally. The problem is there's only so much of it you can fight because it gets pushed down from the state, which then gets pushed down from the feds. So if all we can protect is just right here, we're going to have a really hard time being successful. What we need is communities everywhere. We need them in every state. We need many of them in every state. We need them pushing the counties so that we can make a collective big charge, because just our community right here in this little county, we can maybe band-aid it for 6 months or slow the process down.
But it's still coming.
Yeah, I don't know how we will ever make a dent without the whole bunch of we the people. All right, let's see here. Globalism just died in Davos. So there's some actual good news tonight, like really good news tonight, right? Howard Lucknick just walked into the lion's den and told the World Economic Forum exactly what they didn't want to hear. He said, and I quote, globalism has failed, not whispered, not softened, declared on their own stage. I love that. In a bombshell speech, German Chancellor Merz just called the European Union a complete failure in front of the global elites by stating Germany and Europe have wasted this incredible potential. We have become the world champion of overregulation and zero growth. Globalism is dead. There's a new age of empires at the World Economic Forum. Secretary Howard Lutnick delivered a blunt message on behalf of Trump administration, declaring that globalization again was dead. He stated that the era of exporting American jobs and offshoring the country's future is over, signaling a decisive rejection of globalization as now a policy. The Trump administration and I are here to make a very clear point. Globalization has failed the West and the United States of America. It's a failed policy, and it has left America behind. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent just went straight at Europe to their faces again at the World Economic Forum. Let's be clear. Europe is still buying Russian oil. 4 years later, they are literally financing the war against themselves. True. And Larry Fink of BlackRock says countries that avoided mass migration will be better positioned for the future. Mass immigration was always a scam to destabilize the West. It's why China emits almost zero refugees. I'm happy that these things are being discussed. You know, I get in conversations on Facebook all the time. And if you guys go over to Life Done Free, you'll see people will challenge me on things and we'll go back and forth. But I always welcome it. I'm like,
Yeah.
This discussion's healthy.
Yeah.
You know, let's have these discussions. And so I'm super glad the discussions are
You've
going.
always been like that.
It
You
makes
never
me,
ran from a bully.
no, it makes me smarter.
Yeah.
Even if I'm wrong, that's okay.
And patient and tolerant.
Yeah. Then I'll learn, and that means I'm better the next time. You know,
Yeah.
I actually like it. Trump delivers stark warning at Europe. And again, we're still talking about the World Economic Forum, right? This is him talking. The United States cares greatly about the people of Europe and the bonds that we share as a civilization. But then came the line that shook Davos. We want strong allies, not seriously weak ones. Quote. President Trump didn't miss words. He said Europe must break from the culture it has created over the last 10 years or it will destroy itself. Energy dependence, mass migration, economic stagnation, cultural collapse. Trump made it clear this is not hostility towards Europe. It is a concern. These are beautiful places, he said, but they are destroying themselves. Let's see here. World Economic Forum co-chair and BlackRock CEO Larry Fink openly acknowledged that global elites have lost the public's trust and now face an uncomfortable reality in an age of populism and deep institutional mistrust. The world now places far less trust in the help to help shape what comes next. If the World Economic Forum is going to be useful going forward, it has to regain that trust. I'm going to read one more and I'll get to some comments. Vladimir Putin, and this cracked me up. And he's kind of I don't know if you want to call him a gangster, but he kind of is. He said on Europe's leaders and how they'll behave around Trump, he said, you'll see, it'll happen quickly. Soon they will stand at the feet of their master and will gently wag their tails and everything will fall into place. All right. Let's see here. Whoa, were you dual streaming on YouTube like a vertical and a regular at the same time? Yeah, YouTube does that now, Fairnet Farm. So when you go to my live, one will be for like a computer or a television, and one will be for a cell phone. And if you click the wrong one, you'll see a different one, right? Let's see here. Whoa, crazy. So the cellular one, whenever I was on here earlier, only showed like 5 people watching, and I kept seeing all the YouTube comments. I was so confused. Yeah, they messed it all up this year. I wish they'd just go back to the way that it was. Nito says, if the freebies are not available to non-citizens, there isn't anything to draw them here. I agree with that. No common person trusted at the World Economic Forum. I agree. I agree. All right. Pfizer CEO Albert Bourla has a public meltdown at the World Economic Forum. Right, over growing numbers of people refusing vaccines. In fact, he's calling it a new religion. He says that he is deeply concerned and frustrated, blasting what he describes as religion-driven anti-science rhetoric. Bourla goes on to claim that the only solution to this problem is RFK Jr. got to go. Right?
Yeah. I've heard that from
the
several people.
The World Economic Forum has admitted that the COVID pandemic served as a test of the public's willingness to comply with their vision of the planet. And I will quote them. This is from the World Economic Forum's page themselves. There has been there has been a significant development in the last 5 to 7 years on social, environmental, and technology fronts that could help realize my carbon initiatives for shaping the future towards a smart and sustainable cities. Specifically to mention 3 developments in this context. Number 1, COVID-19 was a test of social responsibility. A huge number of unimaginable restrictions for public health were adopted by billions of citizens across the world. There were numerous examples globally of maintaining social distancing, wearing masks, mass vaccinations, and acceptance of contract tracing applications for public health, which demonstrated the core of individual social responsibility. What do you think about that? Right? So let's put this all in a whole nother way. So we build a virus that kills people, including my father, okay? And we get it out there as an experiment,
It was a test.
right, of individual social responsibility. These people think they're God. Absolute God.
Sick.
Former Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau laughs when asked for an apology for the deaths caused by the authoritarian lockdowns, and he laughed in the people's face. Albert Bourla, Bill Gates, Anthony Fauci, Peter Hotez, Peter Marks, and others all declare at the World Economic Forum with absolute certainty that another pandemic is imminent. The same architects of the last pandemic are priming the world for the next one, the inevitable consequences of a world that never held them accountable. Yep. Let's see here. Can Squatch says, mad because Pfizer losing money. Regenerative Orchard says, keyword here, comply. Hey, by the way, you guys, and I don't know where Regenerative Orchards all is from their social media, but if you're into regenerative orchards, fruit trees, pruning, and that kind of stuff, what a great place to go.
Good information.
Yeah, guy's super smart. You guys should go over there and check him out. Make sure you tell him Tag sent you, but absolutely go do that. Let's see here. Fear Not Farm says, yes, because RFK Jr. is a Christian. Yep, RFK Jr. and got squat to do with my decisions. So many crazy things going on. Yuval Noah Harari at Davos. The most important thing to know about AI is that it is not just another tool. It can lie and it can manipulate. 4 billion years into evolution have demonstrated that anything that wants to survive learns how to lie and manipulate. The last 4 years have demonstrated that AI agents can acquire the will to survive and that AIs have already begun learning how to lie. Larry Fink and the elites in Davos have switched from going all in on climate change to now all in on AI. No more shilling for wind and solar. AI cannot survive on intermittent energy. They are now all in on coal burning power plants. Larry Fink lets the cat out of the bag at the World Economic Forum. And, quote, data centers need massive amounts of stable power. They cannot rely on unstable wind and solar. Well, you know what that means, don't you? That we will be rationed and the data centers will be prioritized. Yep.
Yikes.
Yep. Gotta love it. Who decides the boundaries for artificial intelligence and how do governments ensure public trust? Speaking at the 2026 World Economic Forum in Davos, Arantxa González Laya, Dean of the Paris School of International Affairs and former Minister of Spain, emphasized the importance of clear regulations to maintain trust in technologies. Bill Gates announces at the World Economic Forum that his artificial intelligence is being rolled out into our healthcare system.
Oh, no.
Isn't this excellent? He reveals new partnership with OpenAI aimed at integrating AI directly into health systems worldwide. Gates says he wants AI healthcare linked across systems, likely combining digital health records, biometric ID, digital payments, and mass data sharing. How wonderful. Isn't that exciting? So exciting. Let's see here. Regenerative said he's in Middle Tennessee, but have a truck and will travel. Nito said, I refused. Know too many healthy people that got it, boosters, and now sick with numerous health problems. I know many as well. Here you guys go. Here's Regenerative Orchard's YouTube channel. And there's their website. And you guys, it's in the chat. Go visit them. Go show them some love. At least just go tell them hello, Tag sent you. And let's see if we can get their message out. And I think it's an important message, and I think we can learn a lot from it. Yeah, Gypsy says, some of us will not be rationing power. Nope, some of us will not be How many years have you guys sat here and listened to me rant about how energy is the next big thing? And that we have to take care of our own energy dependence. We cannot rely on the systems because we're going to come last.
Yeah.
If you don't do it, you're going to be in the house that's cold in the winter. You're going to be in the house that's hot in the summer. You're going to deal with roving brownout. To do it, do it now. I would rather have energy independence than a big old 401k plan.
Mm-hmm. Hell yeah.
It ain't even close. I'd rather have water independence than a 401k plan. I would, absolutely would. Not giving you any financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. You should seek a professional, blah, 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 blah. Right?
Yes.
Okay. Just don't want to get you in any trouble.
Right.
I'm concerned about that.
Right. Well,
Yep.
you get enough of these taken down already. So,
Yep. Energy and water. Yep. Energy and water. Let's see here. Breaking. United Kingdom Prime Minister Keir Starmer has abandoned the digital ID mandate determining a citizen's right to work. Let me spell this out for you. You will not be able to work if you do not have a digital ID. You can imagine what the world would be like if Donald Trump was in control, is what he goes on to say. Poland just fired a shot across Brussels. Poland's President Karol Nawrocki has vetoed the European Union's Digital Service Act, the censorship law designed to police speech across Europe. His words are unmistakable. The state is supposed to guarantee freedom, not restrict it. This is not a minor legal dispute. This is a direct rebellion against the globalist censorship regime being built in Brussels, London, and Ottawa. This is the good news, guys. Remember I said there was some good news really buried in all my good news? It's that there is a fight going on. There are people standing up, just like this, Poland right here. Said, whoa, wait a second. Our job as a state is to guarantee freedom. It's not to restrict it. How wonderful is that? Klaus Schwab says that the world will no longer be run by superpowers like America. It'll be run by the World Economic Forum stakeholders such as BlackRock and Bill Gates. In 2019, Edward Snowden warned that the infrastructure for a Chinese-style social credit system was being built in plain sight. All of these things are increasingly being created and programmed and decided by algorithms, and those algorithms are fueled by precisely the innocent data that our devices are creating all of the time, constantly, invisibly, quietly, and right now. They're selling our future, they're selling our past, and they're selling our history, our identity, and ultimately, they're stealing our power. Mark Carney slashes Canadians' 100% tariff on Chinese EVs and announced that up to 49,000 Chinese electric cars will be imported into Canada with only a 6% tariff. I hope, Terminator, I know you're out there. I hope you're excited about buying Chinese EV cars. In return, China has agreed to slash tariffs on canola imports from 84% to 15%. By March 1st, and the battle lines.
Canola. It does say
canola. It is canola, yep. And the battle lines continually be defined. Thanks to the work of Bill Gates and other psychopaths, soon absolutely everything we consume, from vegetables to dairy to meat, will contain mRNA, whether we like it or not.
Great.
Energy independence.
Yeah.
Water independence. Food independence. Lessen the stroke. Take it away from them. Take some accountability. Freedom is nothing more than being accountable. It's being accountable for your own. And Regenerative Orchards for the Win says, if you're hearing this, you are the resistance. Love that. Love that, love that, love that. The fact that we're dropping bombs and random boats in Venezuela and not on Davos tells you all about Trump. Same old, same old. There's a lot of things about him that drive me up a wall, and there's things that I really like, just like a lot of his speeches in Davos, I actually agree with. But I'm going to get into some of that stuff here in a little bit too, if we end up having enough time in the Minnesota stuff. Let's see here. Let's keep trucking, right? I don't know if you guys have been following Candace Owens or not. A lot of people say she's gotten kind of out there, but she's talking a lot about how, what would you do if they brought the power grid down? Because the World Economic Forum is predicting a cyber pandemic that's inevitable. The reason I'm even paying attention to the World Economic Forum and their exercises is because they notoriously in 2019 ran an exercise for a coronavirus pandemic that oddly became true. World Economic Forum officials warned global instability would lead to a catastrophic cyber event. Guys, if the grid goes down, it's big, big, big trouble.
Yeah.
It is big, big, big trouble. And just having your own system isn't enough. If you don't have people around you, if you don't have a community around you, now you just become a target.
Right.
Right. So it's much bigger than just getting off grid, although you have to start there. You got to get your stuff in order before you can help anybody else get their stuff in order. Right. And I would encourage all of us to do that. Trump issues ultimate warning to Iran. So President Trump just delivered the strongest message yet to Tehran, the Iranian-linked threats and assassination rhetoric. Trump made it unmistakably clear if Iran attempts to harm a sitting U.S. president. So for those of you guys who don't know, Iran threatened to assassinate Trump. And Trump's basically saying, go ahead, we'll just knock you off the planet. If you kill your people, we're coming. There's now reports of 30 to 40,000 people that have been killed. Trump has moved an entire battle group off the coast over there in a 36-hour window, nearly 500 aircraft in a full spectrum war posture. Military trackers say that force is now positioned around Iran, represents one of the largest coordinated U.S., Israeli, British deployments seen outside of an active war. So it looks like we'll be doing that quickly too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think that the only reason he says a few good things here and there is simply to keep people trusting the plan. Maybe. I mean, right, I have not seen the effects of the tariffs for me yet. I have not seen some of that stuff yet. But at the same time, no, I'm not even going to say that. I'm not even going to say that. I think that there's been a lot that's wrong. And I am not, fear not farm. I don't know if this is your first live, if you've watched before, but I'm pretty harsh on Trump. There's a lot of things I get on him about, as I do the Dems the same. You know, I'm not a big fan of either party. But all right, let's truck here. If the U.S. strikes Iran, Iran might go to full war mode. And so what basically, and I'm kind of skip through some of this because I know what it says, and I'll just kind of fill you guys in. So basically what Iran's saying is that they recognize now that if America and Israel stops bombing, they're not going to stop. That the Iran regime will be fighting for its very life, and Iran will be fighting for its very existence. There's no more corners. There's nothing to go back to. Saudi Arabia has officially informed Washington that it will not permit the United States military aircraft to be used in Saudi airspace. Moscow sends a stark warning to Washington. Russia declares that if any strike on Iran would be completely unacceptable. And Donald Trump talks to the people of Iran, telling them to keep protesting, keep protesting, keep protesting. Ironically, Waltz, the governor of Minnesota, saying the same thing to his people in Minnesota. U.S. troops are locked in, and Iran's probably sweating. The U.S. just wrapped up its military deployment in the Middle East. Troops and assets, they're all set. Everything's finalized. Now they're just waiting for the word. We need to butt out. Let's see here. Love Runs Rampant says, Trump likes the digital and data centers too much for me, but I'd take him over the others. Isn't that crazy that we often talk about this? Let's vote for the less of the two evils. They're both evil.
Yeah.
I mean, when are we the people going to stand up and say enough of this stupid two-party BS? You know, I mean, I like what Poland's prime minister said. Our job is to guarantee freedoms, not restrict them. Yeah. Anyway, Trump fires back at Europe. This is in reference to Greenland. A reporter tried to corner President Trump over Greenland and said Trump delivered a warning heard across the Atlantic. They asked, why are you being respectful to Europe and the UK? Trump's response was cold and unmistakable. I'm not, but they have to change their ways. Then came the real message. Between immigration and energy, if they don't change, bad things will happen. I agree with this. Again, I think what's going on is big negotiations over Greenland. I think that Venezuela and Greenland are actually connected about getting the Western hemisphere. And I believe Trump will succeed at this effort.
The whole thing?
I think he will get Greenland. Yep. Now that I've read enough about it and involved enough in it, he's going to play a leverage game. And if Europe is successful in getting China to defend it, then maybe not. But America holds all the cards, you know. And I've negotiated many deals, as many of you know, many deals over the course of my life worth millions of dollars. Leverage matters. It just matters. Let's see here. And in a bombshell revelation, top White House officials disclosed that the United States is finalizing a staggering $700 billion cash offer to buy Greenland outright from Denmark, plus $100,000 lump sum payments to each of its 57,000 residents, totaling nearly $706 billion. We'll see if he's successful. Fear Not Farm says, yeah, I knew that was coming. The lesser of evil, people say Kamala Harris wasn't even an option. They have gave up on even pretending like there's a competition. Yeah, I have to admit, I would rather have Trump than Kamala, but I'm not really excited about either of it. Trump liked the MRA too much. Fact. Trump likes getting involved in police actions too much. Trump likes to cover for Epstein. I mean, we are going to quit making caveats. I agree with that. This seems like a board game of Risk to me, doesn't it? Great analogy. I agree 100%. It's a big Risk game. 15 minutes left. We're going to talk about Minnesota. I want to tell you guys something, and I mean this as sincere as I can tell you. This is something I struggle with. Because on one hand, you can't, and I said this in our last live, you can't step on due process on your way in and expect to protect you on the way out. What good are laws if we don't enforce them? I have a gate at my driveway. I have a fence around my property. So borders aren't bad. Here's the problem, though. And I say all of that, right? So I guess technically I would tell you that I am pro rule of law and that they should be followed. But again, there's more to this, I think. I have friends who I've grown to be friends with who are here, who aren't here legally. And in one particular case, they were flown here. They didn't swim across the river, and they were promised a better life. And so it's kind of like you got two victims, right, in this a little bit. And I know not in every case, because obviously there's rapists out there, there's murders out there, but guys, you're seeing the highlights, you're seeing the small number. These people were brutalized for political gain, and we're being brutalized for political gain, right? And so I don't think it's just that simple. And so I really have a hard time with it, because part of me says, hey, you know what? It's the rule of law. We need to stick to it. And really, I kind of am there anyway in the end, because
Otherwise,
something has to happen. This can't continue. So what do you do about it? But I'm going to get into that. I don't know if you guys watched the protests and stuff that are going on in Minnesota. It is, 3 degrees outside, and there are hundreds of thousands of people. You got to be pretty motivated or paid really well, right?
Yeah.
To be willing to step out and do that. And, ICE in these departments, and I'm going to defend them and bash on them a little bit, but they don't make the case any better. When they put out statements like they can forcibly enter homes without a warrant, that's just not true. That is so counter to our Constitution, right? In every single way. It's just not true. And so I think that fans the fire a lot. I also think it's interesting that Governor Walz has called up the National Guard in Minnesota, which is so ironic, because the governors control the National Guards, except in one case, which is the Insurrection Act. So if Walz calls up the National Guard and then Trump declares the Insurrection Act, Trump will take control of the National Guard.
Right.
Right. And so I think there's an absolute war going on here, and I think we're about to see it burn. And there's some
Here.
I do. I think we're absolutely going to, because of some of the stuff that's going on. Minnesota just took, and I have 2 main stories I want to share with you guys tonight. Minnesota just shook the country. Faith leaders arrested at the airport. Tens of thousands marched in sub-zero cold, and entire communities shut down their lives to say ICE out of our state. Yesterday, what activists are calling ICE out of Minnesota Day of Truth and Freedom blew up from protests to a statewide strike against federal immigration enforcement. This wasn't a handful of disgruntled voices. It was a general strike, with businesses closing, workers skipping shifts, students staying home, and the streets packed with people furious at the ICE's surge into the Twin Cities. And again, I'm not going to read it all, because I want to make sure I get to both of these stories before we get out of here tonight. But it's super bad optics when a whole bunch of faith leaders, and again, this could be totally staged, you guys. They could be paid to pretend they're preachers. Who knows?
Right.
But it's horrible optics. And you would think somewhere along the way that they would get smart and they would say, okay, this doesn't look good. Let's do this differently. Just like the Renee Good thing, right? At the end of the day, I think that our elected officials and our police and our military should be held to a higher standard, and that our first job should be to de-escalate. I'm not suggesting that, and you guys know, we went through it last week. Renee Good should not have ran him into the car. That's assault. That's that. I don't really have a lot to say to that. But I think there's also another role in de-escalating. What people who are cheering on ICE and the immigration police state don't understand is that this was all done by design. This is a classic problem reaction solution operation. The predator class creates or allow a problem to fester. This causes a reaction in the public, which leads to the solution that the predator class wants. Since 2016, I've been warning that the immigration would be the issue Trump used to usher in the technocratic police state. In order to accomplish this, there had to be years of propaganda about immigrants flooding the country. Lots of people claim 20, 30, 40 million people flooded the country without evidence. Yes, there have been crimes by immigrants and violent gangs coming into the U.S. Those stories got amplified so that the people would welcome and celebrate Trump's rhetoric and ICE. Now, more and more people recognize ICE policies and are not solely about violent criminals. ICE is focused on regular Americans and violating our Constitution. This is only the beginning. And I have to tell you guys, I agree with the statement. And I'll tell you why I agree with the statement. I mean, I can give you some evidence of why I agree with it. I'm sure you guys know that ICE shot and killed an American just right here recently, a young man who worked at a VA as an emergency nurse. And he got into a skirmish with them. So basically what happened was he was standing there and he was videoing them on his phone. And he was standing in the street a little bit. The ICE agent approached him. They kind of backpedaled, went back and forth arguing. Next thing you know, they're wrestling on the ground. There's like 6 agents. Apparently he had a gun on him. You can see the agent, and I've watched every angle of this video. You can see the agent take the gun. And as soon as he walks away, you hear a shot fire and he's dead. And so a lot of people online are talking about, well, you show up to a rally with a gun on you. What do you expect? Well, hold on a second. Let's take a time out. You have a right to carry. We have the Second Amendment. We have that right. Furthermore, we have the right to videotape. Our First Amendment guarantees the right to free press and the right to free speech, which, by the way, includes obscenities, right? The Supreme Court has upheld the fact that obscenities are a protected speech. You can like it, you cannot like it, but
Right.
That's the way it is.
Their words.
Right. I mean, it's the way it is. And so you can say this guy deserved to lose his life because he got in a fight defending himself. Because that's what happened. He was getting in a yelling match back and forth. Next thing you know, he's tackled. He attempts to defend himself. There's no evidence of him attempting to pull a gun. I did not see that, but he had one on him. But he gets in a Teflon match and he ends up dead. I think that now my opinion can be changed as more things come out. But at the end of the day, what I have seen so far, this was completely reckless. This is just heavy-handed. You know, I don't see any reason for this. I don't see how this helps anything, right? I just don't see it. Let's get some comments in here real quick. Mo says, I disagree with the warrant thing. If China invades California, they don't need to ask for warrants to prosecute a war on our soil. We are in one now. It's just more friendly. But Mo, that's not what the Post said. The Post said they don't need it to enter homes, period. They didn't say they don't need to enter homes on only those who are occupied by an illegal immigrant.
Mm-hmm.
They said they have the right to enter homes, which is wrong. The Fourth Amendment guarantees our rights against an illegal search and seizure. We are promised due process. And just because there's chaos going on doesn't mean we lose our rights, guys. This is how we end up in tyranny. Because we accept this temporary piece of safety, right? And we're willing to give our freedom for it. Let's see here. Fear Not Farm says, I can tell you this. I ain't going to protest at any of these stupid events. Seems to make people have nothing to do of importance. Yeah, I'm also not going to go because I want to come home, you know. But I mean, again, we say that, but how many more years will go by before, and I'll quote Grumpy, before the soccer moms and the NASCAR dads say enough? We get mad at a young who legally had a firearms permit, who got in a yelling match with someone who he believed to be an oppressor. He stood his ground and died for it. I mean, and so this kind of hits home a lot for me, you know, because I talk a lot about standing up to tyranny. And then all of a sudden, that's exactly what he did. Now, you could say he was right or you can say he was wrong. But at the end of the day, he believed that he was standing up to it. I watched him exercise his First Amendment right. I watched him exercise the Second Amendment right. And I watched him die because of it. You know, that's really, really hard for me to swallow. Let's see here. Can someone show me where it says right to protest? It does not say right to protest. It says the right to peacefully assemble. Okay. It also says the right to address grievances to your government. So assembly, okay, that's one piece of one of the amendments. The other piece is the First Amendment. You have the right to free speech, Starla. And the Supreme Court has upheld that obscenities, yelling, "You're a Nazi," is a protected activity under the First Amendment. So it's not as simple to say this amendment covers protesting. No, this amendment covers assembly. This amendment covers the right to address your grievances to the government. This other amendment is the right to free speech. This other amendment is the right to keep and bear arms. Constitution, Dan Bongino, I got in an argument on Facebook with this a couple days ago, put out a post that said you're not allowed to protest. Nothing in the Constitution says that. You're not allowed to scream obscenities. Wrong. You may not like what someone's having to say, but the fact of the matter is it is a protected speech. It's protected by the Constitution. Nino said, I believe the shouting, whistles, and horn honking all create situation that makes communications impossible, not to mention the lost patience of everyone all the way around. I couldn't agree more. I wouldn't do it. I think it's tacky. I wouldn't go, I get mad at my commissioners all the time. I would never call them a name. Never. It's just because I think it's tacky. I just wouldn't do it. But I'm telling you, I'll absolutely stand up for people's right to do it. Right. Okay. You're not allowed to resist arrest. You're not allowed to resist lawful arrest, Mo. Right? Don't they have to have a lawful arrest? Don't they have to be able to clearly articulate
They're
suspicion of a
supposed to,
crime?
but they arrest people
I know.
on a regular basis.
Which is
with
which
no-
violates our rights. So someone standing up for the rights being violated. Let me give you an example. In most states, if you're asked to identify yourself, you only have to if they can clearly articulate reasonable suspicion of a crime. And if they can't do that, you don't have to give them your ID. That's not every state. That's a lot of states. So just by someone saying, hey, give me your ID, and me going, no, and then they push me, I have a right to defend myself. I mean, it's a really, really, really dangerous ground. And I am not condoning violence in any way. I just think it's sad that those officers in this particular case didn't show more restraint. They had 6 officers on him. He was on the ground. The cop had already removed the firearm. The threat had been taken away. 6 of them guys against one, they can't restrain him. I don't know.
Was he fighting back?
Well, of course, he was defending himself. Well, I'm not defending that. I wasn't there.
Right.
He was wrestling with the police officers. But if 6 officers are wrestling with a suspect on the ground, should it ever be lawful to take out your gun and shoot him?
Right.
That's my point.
Right. They can't subdue him with the 6 of them.
Right. I understand the right to free speech, but it does not say protest. It says free speech. Okay, right here. Free speech does not include threatening and stirring up the peace. Yes, it does. Unfortunately, yes, it does. Now, threats, if you make a threat,
Yeah, you're not
you can't do that. But you can absolutely call somebody a
Stir up
Nazi.
the
You can
peace.
absolutely call them a baby killer. You can honk your horn. You can videotape. You can do all of those things. You can do those things. Those things are legal. Mo said, no, just arrest. It won't be unlawful until there's a court unless you put your freedom on the line. Protest and stirring up crap is disturbing the peace. No, it's not, Starla. Let me tell you something. If you were on a public property, like a sidewalk, paid for by taxpayer dollars, you do not lose your First Amendment rights. Sorry, you don't. You can like it, you can not like it. But that's unfortunately the way that it is. Anyway, I'm going to leave you guys right here tonight because it got me all riled up. But it's an hour and 58 minutes. We normally cut out at the 2-hour mark. But B, you got anything you want to leave with us tonight before we go?
Oh,
Maybe?
Well, I had something earlier that was different than now. I had written down, you had said the energy and water, and then you added food to that. And I was going to add health as well. You know, what was that?
Yeah, just go.
That to gain control of your energy and water and your food, but also your health, and get involved.
Yeah, there's so many questions here. I just totally want to get at. Dana Green says, where does inciting a riot? Inciting what's the definition of inciting? right? If standing up and saying no more ICE incites a riot, I don't really think that's inciting. Now, if you're behind the scenes paying people to go
Uh-huh.
protest and saying, hey, go and slash tires, I would say that's inciting, and I would say that that's a criminal offense. Yeah, and then Fear Not Farms says Mo saying that they had to shoot him because he was resisting arrest is pretty piss poor. I mean, there was like 4 or 5 of them, which was my point. Anyway, I'm going to leave you guys with this. Listen, this battle, we're all going to fight it. It's going to come to every one of us at one point in time or the other. If you sit on your couch, it'll probably wait a little longer to get to you, but it'll still come for you. But then maybe the heroes that would have stood with you will be gone.
Mhm.
You cannot fight any of this by your couch. You got to get out. You got to go to your school board meetings. You got to go to your county commissioner meetings. You got to do all you can. Will it work? I have no idea. Can you do anything about it? I have no idea. But what I know is doing nothing will get you exactly nothing. And so I encourage you all to get involved. I encourage all of you to go stand up and at least just have your voice heard, but do it peacefully. You know, don't get in a fist fight with 6 ICE agents. It's not a good idea. Even though, you know, even if you're doing it legally, it's still not a good idea. Be smart about what you do.
Right.
And maybe if enough of us do that, we can actually make a difference. I'm gonna get out of here. We'll see you guys in a week. Be out.
Yeah.
Tag out. See you guys. Good night, everybody.